Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to Final Fantasy IX. We're
Oh my
bouncing
god,
on blocks.
oh my god.
They're so
Stringy.
ugly.
Are they supposed to be frogs or bugs?
They're
Yes.
roaches. They're basically roaches.
Okay.
They're roach frogs. How far into Lindblum did you get?
No, he just got two Lindblum.
Oh, I got 2 Lindblum and then I saved the game.
Okay, so
I
you
know
haven't
that
met Sid yet.
is.
Okay.
I've met Sid. I know he's in Ogglop, but I didn't do anything after that because it was late and I wanted.
Hey, don't speak about Regent Sid that way. He is a man at heart.
Yeah. I like how the king has a Union Jack shirt. Like, what? There's a Briton in Final Fantasy Land? Gaia. Yeah, that's right. I forgot. This is like one of the only Final Fantasy games where they actually give the planet a name.
Trying to think back. No.
Evilise, I guess.
No, Final Fantasy VII is all about the planet, but they don't care enough about the planet to tell you what it's called. It's just the planet.
Yeah.
Oh, what's all this? I love Steiner's dialogue here. He's just like looking around.
I love his posture. Like he has no idea what the hell to make all this.
trying to figure out what's going on. I just picture Steiner as one of those really muscular fat guys. Like he's got a gut, but it's like 260 pounds of pure fat muscle.
Pure Steiner.
He is supposed to be in his, I believe, mid-30s.
Well, I mean, I have only ever seen this in video games, but have you ever seen a fat guy who still has six-pack abs?
Yeah,
E. Honda.
Well, no, what's his name from Fullmetal Alchemist, the teacher's husband?
Yeah.
Stig.
And, I'm not really even sure that's possible, because one of the things about six-pack abs is that a layer of fat conceals them.
Yeah.
But
so for all you guys know, I'm ripped under here.
I just sort of picture Steiner being that guy. I like how Steiner is so clueless. He plays along with what's going on here.
Oh,
you can clearly see. You can
wave your hands in the air like you just don't care.
You can clearly see that sword went off to the side. Steiner is just an idiot. He thinks she's actually dead. He's not acting.
To an extent, I think he has to realize at some point or another.
He should.
Not that dumb. I mean, he's close, but he's not that dumb.
Well, this game doesn't play things seriously. Now, where could Garnet be? You'd think she'd be more worried. It's like, even if you consider the fact that she's currently, magically corrupted or something, she really needs Garnet for her plan, so...
I love the battle cry of one of these soldiers is fury.
I might as well mention this now, but Garnet actually has most of her summons from the beginning of the game.
You just don't have the MP to use them.
They get removed later, and then when you get them back, they have much lower MP costs. But as a plot element, later on, she's going to get all of her Eidolons extracted.
This is the first game to call them Eidolons, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about the term. I like summons.
I always use in
they have
other
different
games other than
terms in
6.
a bunch of other games. They have different terms in a bunch of games. 6 is espers.
Yes.
A lot of the other ones are just summons. They're guardian forces in Final Fantasy VIII, and
they call them Eidolons in Type 0.
Yeah, they've just sort of been jumping back and forth between espers and Eidolons for the last few games.
Yeah.
I think they're espers in Final Fantasy XII and Eidolons in Final Fantasy XIII.
They're Aeons in 10.
Aeons in 10, yeah. I forgot that one. I like Final Fantasy X summons, though. It's just that by the end of the game, you have so much stuff that you can do with non-summons that summons become completely pointless. Whoops.
What happened? I want my money back. This play is stupid. The sword clearly went under her armpit. Who pays for this shit?
I should have saw I Want to Be Your Crow. That had way better reviews.
That was a more interesting show.
I'll admit, this is really poor timing for a recording hiccup, though, because you can't. there's no like quick saves or anything here. You'd have to go through that entire section again to record that.
Yeah, and I'm not doing that just for a SFX
Yeah.
battle where you really can't lose, and you can't steal anything either. So
Yeah, you can't lose, you can't steal anything. There's an amusing thing going on with a bomb.
Oh yeah, the
wait,
bomb.
no, the
the bomb
bomb-
was behind them.
The bomb happens. The
Bomb happens
battle
now.
with the the battle with the bomb happens after you take off. So actually, we're still going to see a battle with Steiner, just
Yeah.
a completely redundant one.
Yeah, the battle that we skipped was just him wailing on Steiner for a little bit, and he
Yeah.
collapses. 'Tis a flesh wound.
Yeah, and this is something Final Fantasy IX also does that harkens back to the older games, because the older games would have cutscene battles as well.
That goes all the way back to Final Fantasy IV, the first fight you get in
Yeah,
that game.
yeah. It's just like Final Fantasy VII and 8 don't really do the cutscene battle thing, except for Final Fantasy VII's final battle with Sephiroth, where Cloud inexplicably has a much more detailed model for some reason.
Wait, what?
Yeah, in the final cutscene battle with Sephiroth at the end of Final Fantasy VII, Cloud gets a model with a much higher poly count.
Yeah. And you think it's like, oh, this is so cool, and then in retrospect, it's like, wait a minute, why the fuck couldn't you look like that the entire game?
Yeah. I assume it had to do with all the other stuff going on in the other battles, but
Yeah, because the fight's nothing but a void in the background, so they can get away with the higher polygon count.
But it looks
That and you don't have any
cool
party
because
members or
it's like
anything.
swirly and shit.
Anyway, we get our first look at a bomb, and can I just say that I like the bomb design in Final Fantasy IX above all other bomb designs? Especially above Final Fantasy XIII. Like, what the fuck was that shit? Fucking polygon with a face. The monster designs in Final Fantasy XIII are just weird to me, I'm sorry. It's like you're trying to reinvent the wheel with all these iconic monsters that you have. Why are you doing that? Don't.
But besides that, this is pretty much another scripted battle. You can't attack the bomb.
yeah, you just wail on him to get it done sooner.
Yeah.
And does he have anything to steal, or no?
Nope.
Oh.
If he did, I would be doing it.
Well, you can't steal, because the characters that... Whenever you're fighting on this stage, the characters that are part of the Thief Troop have their ability switched to SFX.
For some reason, even though it's quite clear the play is not a play anymore.
Steiner,
Yeah,
quit
but-
going after Vivi.
But you know, if you try to
John,
use an
John,
if you
drama
try to
isn't
use an SFX,
just a job; it's a way of life.
yeah, if you try to use an SFX ability on Steiner, he'll comment on it being useless. Woo!
You can actually kind of tell when the battle's going to be finished beforehand if you look at your ATB gauge. If it's full and you deliver the final hit and the ATB starts glowing again, that means the battle's over.
Yeah.
And the characters also reset to their stationary positions. There are a lot of other details that you notice when playing this game for so long, like when you get the random battle swirl. If it's a regular fight, it swirls inside like it gets sucked in. When it's a boss battle, the swirl zooms in on you first, and then it swirls. You okay there?
Fucking giant fire monster behind me.
You were Steiner.
Hooray, we blew
I
up
like
the
how
princess.
she's like, ah. Oh wait, I kind of needed.
What about that? Did you hear that cat?
And the main title theme.
Oh, I didn't.
Yay.
No, it's a variation on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Final Fantasy IX has some good variations on the main themes that are going on.
You can also hear a bit
But-
of Kuja's theme in this too.
Wait,
Yeah,
really?
one of the
He's
things-
not even in the plot yet.
Oh yeah, you're right. I heard that.
Yeah.
Huh. Weird.
Also, there's a little face that Garnet is like, "You bitch." It's like you really did it.
That
Now
was
eat
my
it.
best fan.
Oh, come on. That fan didn't do anything. Why did you break your fan? Now you need to buy another one. Frickin' rich people. Anyway, this is where we're introduced to a plot element in Final Fantasy IX, which they brought back in Crystal Chronicles
Crystal
to somewhat
Chronicles?
mixed effect.
Mist.
Final Fantasy. I'll talk more about Crystal Chronicles later because I really like that game. But the world is covered in a mist, and only the high elevation places are not covered in mist. Apparently, the mist is what generates the monsters in this world.
Well, the mist continent is covered in mist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just the mist.
Until a certain point, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, you find out more about it as the plot goes on. But one of the weird things about Final Fantasy IX's plot is that everyone in the game treats this mist as totally ordinary and not worth remarking on. So you don't really realize it's important until later in the game when the story underlines it.
Well, it's mostly just an explanation for why there's monsters and stuff.
Yeah.
Which most
No,
games don't even
it
bother with.
it does have a plot point later.
Like it powers shit, and it's why the monsters are there, which already kind of gave me warning signs because
what I'm mostly saying is that in the context of the game, the characters that you interact with treat it as an everyday thing, the same way that, like, say in Star Wars, Luke's family treats moisture evaporators as an everyday thing. They might reference it, but they don't explain what the fuck it is. So the audience might be a little bit lost.
Because in a world like this, you're born into something where it's an everyday thing. You just assume it's natural.
Yeah, we don't have Tidus running around going, what's this?
No, you motherfuckers are wrong.
Explain this for me.
I'm part of the
My world was
Abes.
My world is so much better, punches reality.
Yeah, it's like, there's only a certain distance that you can go with that kind of thing, though, because Final Fantasy IX treats stuff like that, but it's all very simple stuff that you can comprehend on your own. Final Fantasy 13 tries to do the same thing with all these weird things that have weird foreign-sounding names, and you have to look it up in the in-game codex entries to figure out what the fuck it all is.
I still don't know what FLC is supposed to be.
Basically, it's like a demigod of sorts. Like, they're like lower than gods, but higher than mortals.
Learning about Spira and 10, like in the early part of the game, could pretty much be summed up as, what's this? You don't know what this is? Sense toxin. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then even then, though, Final Fantasy X's world building kind of sucks because you don't find out much about the world's cultures or anything. It's actually it's actually a weird case of a game that really could have used an in-game codex to flesh stuff out.
No, they were more interested in talking about the politics of 10.
Here we are, active time events. This is sort of an optional cutscene system that you can go through, and I do recommend checking out every ATE that comes along.
Yeah.
But it's really awkward when multiple ATEs trigger at once, because then you have to move your character to another area to watch the next one.
Only sometimes, though, because there were a few instances when I was playing that they just let me go straight to the next one, but it only happened sometimes, so it was a little bit weird.
Yeah, it's a little inconsistent. I like the active time event system, but,
well, I think of it as
does
the same way as the conversations. They have a name in the Tales series, but I don't remember what that name is. But Skits, yeah.
Skits,
I like those because they're just little things that help flesh out the universe, and I think I'm all for those.
It's the same sort of deal, and it allows them to develop certain less crucial elements of the characters and plot without relying on mandatory cutscenes.
Exactly, it's not shoved down your throat.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's the end of the part.
Great timing.